Yeah, roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast scene. Talking Burton Bogies, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, putt, and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Got my clubs in the trunk, blunt in the front. Tee off in the noon, cause we don't bunt. Discuss in the course, weed strains for lunch. Straight shooters on the greens, not a front. Pitch, put and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Smoking aces, laces tied tight. With a puff we fly, elevate the night. Golf ball soaring, higher than a kite. Fairway to heaven, shining real bright. Pitch, put and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff.
And welcome back to another episode of the Pitch, Putt, and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, aka RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Before we get rolling with our guest tonight, we're going to give a shout out to a few sponsors, starting off with Back Nine Botanicals, the leaders in the CBD world of the golf game right now. Go check them out. They got everything you're looking for the CBD purposes, from your tea time sunrise to get you up and going, that birdie boost, the energy you need throughout the day, and then the knockout with the Moonlight Mulligan. So make sure you guys go and check out back9botanicals.com. Use promo code TPUF10. TPUF10 will save you 10% at checkout. They also have the muscle and joint stick they just came out with. They have the shooters, the 10 milligram THC shooters with the orange, the passion fruit, and strawberry are new to the market. So make sure you guys go give them a try. Back9botanicals.com, promo code TPUF10. Save yourself 10% at checkout. Then we got Mulligan Wear. Make sure you guys go check out Mulligan Wear on Instagram, Mulligan Wear _. Click the link in the bio, it'll take you right to his site. He's got a fresh line of polos coming out, some new hats, hoodies, fire merchandise, real good quality product for a very reasonable cost. And let's save you a couple more bucks because we use promo code PUF10 to save you 10% over there at Mulligan Wear. Once again, go to Mulligan Wear _ on Instagram. Click the link in the bio, it'll bring you right to the page. Grab yourself a nice dope hat. I don't have any with me right here. Polos, fire. I got the camouflage polo I'm going to be wearing this Sunday out in the course. Finally going to have some decent weather out there for us. So Mulligan Wear _ on Instagram. Use promo code PUF10 to save yourself 10% at checkout. Also, we got Athletic, ATHLETHC.com. These guys got the 2 milligram mints, THC mints, the power, flow, and rebound. Go check them out. They got the same thing, something to get you through every point of your day. Not going to be, knocking on your ass, but just give you a nice, easy, mellow flow to get through the day. So Athletic, ATHLETHC.com. Use promo code PUF and find yourself a special discount at checkout over there. Then we got, last but not least, one of our day ones, my man Marty, Trouble Off the Tee, TroubleOffTheTee.com. He's got the new line of hats. He's got Never Lay Up, Scratch Golfer, I'll Go Alone, the Golf of America, and Camel Chasing. So go give a shout out to Trouble Off the Tee while you're over there. Make sure you check out the audiobook available on Spotify and Audible. TroubleOffTheTee.com. Use promo code PUF20 to save yourself 20% at checkout. Tonight we're going to be going to the West Coast and talking a little RSO with my man Brother Burn from Live to Serve. We'll take a quick second and we'll be right back. And we're back here on the Pitch, Putt, and Puff. Once again, I'm RGB, and joining me here is Brother Burn from Live to Serve. Brother Burn, appreciate you taking the time and joining me, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having us.
No, awesome. Yeah, I originally heard about you from the We Don't Smoke the Same podcast with the homie XG and E-Zone. Really, I never heard of RSO up until that point. So how did you first get involved in RSO?
Yeah, so how I found out about RSO actually was, can you hear me clearly too, brother, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah, so I found out about RSO actually, it was like a stage, and if you'd like me to share it, because I experienced cannabis at a young age, and I don't mind
Okay.
sharing that. So
Whatever you're comfortable with, man.
yeah, brother, let's do it. So just to give you the full story, so I was 9 years old, diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and
Mm.
yeah, so they right away they put me on the chemo, and it was breaking me down, but they were seeing progress and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I was just still bedridden because of the chemicals, and it was just having me out. And my parents still had to work. So after a little bit in the hospital, once they stabilized everything and had me on the chemo regimen, I was able to go home and do the chemo there. Throughout the day, my parents would have to go to work, and my brother, he was like, "Hey, bro, like I'm tired of you just being in bed all day. That's not like you, and I want you to come play with us." We were living in Victorville at the time, so we would go and make dirt hills and little tracks on the side of the road, man. And he's like, "I got this Indian medicine, but you have to smoke it." And my brother, he's like of Native American descent, so I was like a
Okay.
little kid, and I'm like in my head, I'm like, hey, I'm like arguing with you, I gotta smoke this medicine. Let's do it. So
Yeah.
I smoke with him, and yeah, so I end up like having energy. I went and I rode my bike. Whenever you're on chemo, you're very nauseated, and it's hard to hold down your food.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't throw up, it's hard to even have an appetite. So I remember I ate lasagna, I tore it up, and I just had a non-biased experience with cannabis because to me it was this Indian medicine, and I had to keep it low key because I'm such a young kid and I don't want to get my brother in trouble,
Right.
especially because I just benefited it from it so amazingly. So that was that story. Thank God I only smoked once, so I'm not going to say like, oh, cannabis cured my cancer,
Mm-hmm.
but it did spark my life back together from that experience. So I was in remission within 6 months, praise God. And now
Wow.
I'm like 13 years old, and my mom, this is like a few years down the line now, and my mom, she finds my brother's stash, and she's all whipping his ass, and she's like kicks him out the house for the night. He comes back, but you know how it is, they
Oh
get all
yeah.
spicy. So she's in her room crying, and I go in there trying to comfort her, and she has like a bag of weed, and she's crying, and she throws it on the end of the bed, and she's like, "If you want to break my heart, smoke that shit." And I'm just like, what the heck? And I look, and I'm like, oh dang, it's the Indian medicine. Indian
Yeah. Right.
medicine
That's
is
all you
weed.
know it as. Right.
Yeah, so now I find out that this is actually weed. And so I'm like 13 years old, 14, and I realized that, yeah, like it's weed. So I did research, and I found out that we have the endocannabinoid system. And then I find out about how the body responds to cannabinoids. And I'll be vague about that because that can be like a separate topic that we can get into about the endo.
Mm-hmm.
But so I find out about all these things about how it actually works with the body, and how I go down the rabbit hole, finding
Right.
out the
Right.
hemp for victory, all that. But
Yep.
keeping on the medical side, I realized that our body creates our own endocannabinoids, and we don't even need cannabis, but cannabis helps us to basically get our body back in line, and they call that homeostasis.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm finding out all this stuff at such a young age. I found out about the endocannabinoid system, and then now I'm wanting to like I find out about Jorge Cervantes and all these like back then when master grower was a respectable term, nobody even uses
Right.
that word anymore. And yeah, bro, so I really wanted to end up like my idea. Even though I was a young kid, I was like, oh, I want to be a master grower someday to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sparked the passion. And I still didn't know about RSO then. So now we're gonna speed it up to now I'm 21 years old, and I have a bud tending job.
Hold on. Let me
And
cut you off real quick though, because it's
go
one
ahead,
thing you
brother.
you just said.
Yes.
You from a young mindset, you already were your mindset of the plant was to use it as a medicine to help people. You weren't looking to get it on the street. Oh, let me grow a bunch of weed, sell a bunch of pounds, move some weight, make some money, boom, boom, boom. That wasn't your mindset. You already realized that the medicinal aspects of it at such a young age, and we're looking to help people. That really, when you said that, man, that just stood out to me. So I wanted to put that out there before I forgot. But that's really impressive for you being that young to see that side of it, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. Even CBD is such a big thing for people that they don't realize. Kids with seizures and epilepsy and shit. So that's crazy, man. That's a cool little aspect right there. Sorry to cut you off though.
Not at all, brother. I appreciate that because a lot of my answers are going to be a bit long. So you can always cut me off and then I'll just put a mental note because I remember exactly where we're at. I'm at 21. But just to go ahead and just piggyback and to respond to what you just said, I appreciate that. And that's a great point to pin there because it's true. Like we'll get further into the story, but it's interesting how it unfolds because, as mentioned, I still don't know about RSO, but
Hmm.
I do want to, grow it and I want to help people. So now I'm 21 years old. I have a bud tending job it was called ECC, East Canada Collective, and it was in
Okay.
Fullerton. Yeah, this was all like legit back then because it was under SB 420 in California. So it was a bud tending position that I had, and it was great. Like the culture was so amazing, and our boss was awesome. I'm not gonna say his name just out of respect because I didn't ask
Sure.
if I could, but I could say the collective. But nonetheless, yeah, bro, it really helped me change my. It was great. I had such a great experience with them, and it was awesome, bro. I don't want
Hmm.
to get too much into it. I don't know if but it was awesome, to be 21 and to make good money, it was
Yeah.
good tips and to be able to do, I was like, man, I'm still so close to my dreams. Like, even though I'm bud tending, like, this is like, I got to earn it, like, not like Scarface, but he's washing the
Yeah,
dishes.
you're working your way up. You're
You got to
learning,
earn it.
and you're just getting all the knowledge and networking and the people you meet coming in and out the door. There is just that aspect of it itself is valuable.
Yeah, it was a great experience. So now, when I was in that position, that was when CBD started to get popular, and my mother, she would get severe migraines. She would
Hmm.
get them so bad that she would have to get off work, and that was a big deal because she was like, we got, everybody contributing it's needed in this day and age of the economy.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, look, mom, sorry. She was about to start paying about, like, I think it was about 2,000 a month and that was a copay for these migraine pills because she doesn't like chemicals. But if she's like, hey, if I'm gonna do this, I need like the best stuff because I'm not trying to mess up my body. So it was
Right.
going to be a $2,000 a month copay for these migraine pills. I come at her and I'm like, look, mom, they got this new thing now. It's called CBD. It's part of cannabis, but it doesn't get you high. It's an isolated form of cannabis, and it's not the part that gets you high, and it can still help. I believe that in high doses, it can help your migraines. So I told her, I was like, look, I'll pay for it. I just want you to try it before you take this big step because you can afford this medicine, but like, what's the point? That's extra money
Hmm.
that you shouldn't spend. And I still don't like the idea of chemicals personally.
Right. Right.
And so she was open to it, and she was taking the CBD, and it helped her migraines. She no longer had any migraines. She doesn't get them to this day, and that was a beautiful stepping point. As life goes on, I knew that I wanted to strive for more. So the bud tending job, I eventually like swayed away from it, and I wanted to pivot into something better. I'm so thankful for that opportunity, and I don't have anything bad to say. But I knew that I wanted to do more for
Hmm.
for my vision, and just, yeah. So my mom was like, look, son, like, you should just do the CBD stuff. The guy, she was getting it from my bud tending job, but even with my discount, it's pretty expensive.
Sure.
We found this guy, and it was a reputable source. She was getting her CBD through him. Eventually he stopped, and now she was just kind of like up in the air, like, hey, like, this stuff works for me, but I can't afford it. And then that's when I created my CBD business, Soul CBD. I didn't mention this actually in the We Don't Smoke the Same podcast, but nonetheless, Soul CBD was my brand that I created, and same thing with from the vision of just helping people. I knew that CBD was starting to get looked at in a disrespectful way because everybody was charging so much for such a little dose. You need high doses if you have a severe issue.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you need full spectrum, and that's RSO. And so nonetheless, I start my CBD company, Soul CBD. I'm providing my mom with that, and I'm starting to go out, and I was making, originally it was just drops, CBD drops,
Yep.
And then I started to formulate my own massage oils and body rubs. And I would be I wanted to stand out. So I would whip it and I would, pipe it and give it like a rose look. And the ladies really liked it. And that's what landed me actually a client. And he basically had me in a position where I was just manufacturing for his little small batch of like boutique clients.
Okay.
And this is relevant because this is leading up to the RSO, because
Mm-hmm.
one key point I want to mention is that I did know about RSO now at this point, but I always wanted to stay legal, right? I always wanted to stay within legal. Even now we're within legal frames because I wanted to really be legit. I want to really help people. I'm not here just trying to be like some um drug lord. I really want to be
Right.
legal, and I knew that there was ways to do it. So with that intention, I'm working with him, and eventually, um, once again I pivoted, and I wanted more. I knew that that wasn't it. Now we're in the time frame of COVID
Mm-hmm.
around there, and that business, I actually got served a cease and desist letter. Not for anything bad, because my logo looked very similar to a bigger brand's, and I don't know if I should say there because it was I wrote that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I could tell you off record, of course,
Okay.
and people can figure it out. Soul CBD. You can
Yeah.
Google that, and you'll find out which brands are still up that or that. but
That's crazy.
but nonetheless, I get served a cease and desist letter, and I'm just like, dude, I think I had COVID at the time. Whether if it was COVID or not, it was like a flu.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt defeated. I didn't even try to like do any research or nothing. I immediately like folded, and I signed it electronically, the cease and desist. And I was just like, man, what am I gonna do? Like this is really whack. And I was pretty upset, and I knew that I could still white label because that's what I was mainly doing anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
Soul CBD was my baby. That was like my first business that actually did well, so to speak. And so now I'm at that point here, trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm doing like Amazon and all this other stuff, kind of like contractor independent work through the apps. And my grandmother passes away, and around that time, like she served a lot. She served the church, and for me, like, I respected her so much because when her husband, my grandfather, passed away, my mom was only 15, and she never married another man. She never dated
Mm-hmm.
another man. She just devoted her life to God and the church. And we all have our past. I'm not going to say in detail what she did or nothing, but bottom line, she had her past. And when that change happened, she just fully devoted her life to God, and she changed a complete 180. So she was always somebody that I looked up to in life, because it's like that's a blessing in this day and age to have a woman, whether if it's a grandmother or not, that has devoted her life to God. Doesn't have to be religion, but she devoted her
Mm-hmm.
life to something that's positive.
Right.
And she didn't skip a beat. So she passes away, and um that's during COVID, so not a lot of people could visit her, and everybody was kind of arguing at that time. I love my family, but it wasn't a comfortable
Tough time for
situation.
everybody. Sure. Yeah.
We're Mexican, brother. We got so many. It's like only two. We're about to come up in there and give you two. No, I'm just kidding. But it was uncomfortable, and I just prayed and praise God. I was within 30 minutes when she passed. It was the middle of the night, and they called me. I was the only one that answered, and I was able to go. She was already gone in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
She graduated, but I went to, just out of respect, grab her belongings and send her off with a prayer. So yeah, brother, I go, and it's the middle of the night, and I pray, and I'm like, Grandma, you don't even need me to be praying. Like you put in so much work, like you're good, like peace, like hello, like I'm looking at your body, but you up there.
You're up there, right?
So God is good, and it was all good, brother. And I took her belongings. And I have a call with my uncle. He's the one that called me and advised me like, hey, we got to go send grandma off and whatnot. So I'm talking to him, and he's like, hey, you have grandma's stuff? You have her Bible? You have her clothes? I'm like, yeah, man, I got it. I was like, hey, I have her glasses though. I was like, I'm keeping those. And he's like, my sister's, he's like, my mom and my tia, they're gonna like be tripping. I was
Yeah.
like, look, let's just say that you didn't know, and I stole them, or I just took them, not stole. And he's all like, that's cool with me.
Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he's like, yo, I don't know nothing. I got her Bible, and so it was a beautiful conversation, and God is good. So that's the end of the conversation. And after that beautiful call, I have my grandma's glasses, and I look
Mhm.
at my phone, and it's 2:22 a.m. And I'm not really someone that is like big on numerology. I'm not gonna disregard it. I know that
Right.
numbers are important, but as far as like making numbers my whole life and basing everything like, oh, that's a sign. I gotta no, God
Mhm.
is my direction. And but that 222, I know that it meant something, and I'm just like, I don't know if it was immediately then, whenever that pieced together, but somewhere the two became live to serve, like grandma served. 222, I'm gonna live to serve like grandma. So that's
Mhm.
a tribute. That's our mission, and that's when live to serve was created. I now, soul CBD is gone. God is putting it in my heart. Hey, you're gonna serve, and you're gonna go all out. You're gonna serve in a legal manner this
Mhm.
RSO, and you're gonna provide it, because people, nobody's providing it. They're either overcharging, or they're doing it maliciously. Man, I'm not gonna say the name of this guy, but just because I didn't want to just speed right past it. But there was a point between all of that where I was like buying RSO to support people, and I was like hooking people up.
Mhm.
Pardon me. And I tried to make RSO through somebody, and they did me wrong. Like, they overcharged me in so many different ways, from the price of the material to the price of the extraction. And it ended up not even being fully extracted properly. I'm right there in my truck, like after I grabbed the goods, and I shouldn't have been doing it, but I dip my finger, and like I taste it, because I'm like, why is it so liquidy? Like, it's hot outside,
Sure.
but it should be thick. It should be like,
Thick. Yeah.
so I do, and it burnt the heck out of my mouth so badly that I'm like looking for something. I don't have no water. I remember that I dropped a mint the other day, and I grab it from the floor of my truck, and I eat that, because that's how bad it was. And I'm on the freeway. I can't
Oh.
get off nowhere. So um I tell my mom this. I'm like, yo, look at this guy, mom. Like, this guy's freaking terrible. Like, he's over here claiming that he's about the people, and he did me so wrong. And she's like, and then my mom, she's the one that told me, like, yo, son, she says, you formulated all of your CBD stuff. You formulated all of your rubs. You think that you can't make this little oil? She's like, it looks like tar. And, hey,
Right.
shout out to mom. So that's when I
No.
was like, you know what? I should make this. Like, and, I was kind of like scared of it, because once again, I always want to be proper. But that's when I did more research and found out about Rick Simpson. I already knew
Mhm.
about him, but I online, you can literally watch a video, and it shows you how he makes it. And
Yep.
nowadays there's a more sophisticated, efficient way to, but it's so simple that you can literally get everything from Walmart, and make some good oil yourself if you have the right product. Pardon me. So I learned to make the oil, and now we're knocking it out, brother. I'm like, heck yeah, I found out how to make oil. We're gonna sponsor people, and let's get it going. Lift the service on. And now this is in October of 2021.
Okay.
October of 2021, because we've been in service now for 5 years. So 2020, October of 2020, we've been serving. We started to sponsor people, and um one of our first donors, and he's the one that helped us actually pick it up, because it was cute. We were able to make, like, what, a protocol for a person a month. But as you know, what if a second person hits us up, or a third? So we hit a roadblock, and
Right.
at this time, we have a little bit of traction now on Instagram. We have people that support us. We're not big at all. I'm not saying that, but we definitely, like, our friends see that we're committed.
Mhm.
So one of our buddies, San Patricio's Garden, he's on Instagram. That's his Instagram. He saw Joe of Knockout Farm post a story like, "Hey, I need RSO. Does anybody know where to source this? I got someone. It's a dear big brother of mine, and we need to get him going ASAP." So my buddy, San Patricio, he tells Knockout, he's like, "Yo, dude," he's like, "I got a buddy. He's totally down to do that. Like, hit him up. I'm sure that he can help." So Knockout hits us up. Joe hits me up, and he's like, "Yo, man, I hear that you're the guy. You got the RSO. Let's do this." And I tell him, I'm like, "Look, pardon me. I'm like, look, brother. I was like, right now we're in a roadblock. I was like, I don't. I'm all out of resources. But if you're willing to buy the material and you're willing to buy we have the solvent already.
Hmm.
I'll run it and I'll give you everything that comes from it." And it was only $100 for a unit of some great indoor OG trim, and
Yeah.
it produced about 60 grams. It was just under, and I still had like 10 grams, so I just filled it up, and that was a full protocol. And he paid for the material. I ran it up all completely free, and he really appreciated the gesture. And he reached out like a week later after I donated, and he's like, "Look, bro, I really appreciate that you did that. You don't understand how much his quality of life has already improved in just a week."
Hmm.
He's like, "I'd love to sit down with you and make this and like he's like turn this into something like bigger. I want to be able to support you, and I know that we have the resources and connections to be able to get you more material to be able to help more people." And I was like, "Let's do it." So we sit down, and he donates a bunch. And something again that a story that people don't know is like he had material like trim and things,
Yeah.
but he was the first donor of pucks. He gave us that idea. He gave us some rosin pucks, which for the people that don't know, rosin pucks is a term used for when you press hash, whether
Yep.
if it's flour, mainly hash these days. You're pressing the hash in the little pucks and the little micron filters. What's left over is the hash that's been squished in the material. There's a little bit of oil in there, but for RSO, that's a lot of bit of oil,
Right.
and most people just throw that away. So he's like, "Yo, I have this bag of rosin pucks." He's like, "I think that if you were to soak that in alcohol," he's like, and evaporate that, I think I can give you some strong stuff." Pardon me. So we end up doing our first batch of RSO hash rosin pucks, and it was amazing. The taste was amazing. The feedback was great, and we were mixing it with regular RSO traditional, like with trim and nugs, because we want to get all of the cannabinoids. Rosin pucks, when you test it, it's very consistent. You can test anybody's pucks. You're gonna see compared to regular RSO test results, the minor cannabinoids, which are the ones that we don't really look for, the CBG, the CBN, the
Hmm.
CBD, those are very, very minimal. But the terpenes and the THC is very high. Pardon me. The terpenes and the THC is very high compared to regular RSO. You're very high in minor cannabinoids, which is normal. You have a moderate amount of terpenes, a regular amount, because it's not concentrated since it's straight from the flower.
Right.
And then as far as the THC, you won't get like a mid 80s, a high 90s, or a mid or a low 90s. You're gonna get, if you're lucky, like 70%,
Okay.
70% THC. So we combined the both, and it was just magical. Everybody was just, we were getting great results, and that's what essentially, I'm going to stop there so you can ask a question and give feedback. But I feel like that's a great stopping point, because now we're going, and thanks to Knockout Farm, that we start getting a bunch of different connections. If you want to go into different sponsors that had gotten with us, or whatever you want to go from there, I feel like that's a great point. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because that's
it's
kind of the
rocking.
cool thing
We're
about it
rocking now.
too, is that you're partnering up with other brands and companies that have the same mindset as you, where they're donating their trim. I mean, the pucks I used to have a buddy of mine get some pucks from a friend out west as well. So I'm very familiar with the pucks. We used to get a lot of candles back in the day, and once in a while, if that candle fell, there would be a puck laying in there. So it was interesting. But those I know, I totally understand what you're saying though, because when you're pressing all that RSO, or to get the RSO and get that out of there, the product you're going to get is just going to be so much more pure and potent. but to have companies to work with you and go in the same direction that you're going and like willing to help and give back, like that's the thing that's awesome. And that's when I started when I was listening to you on the We Don't Smoke the Same. That was what I found was really cool, is your whole mindset was never like selfish, and it was always how to give back, how to help people. And like you can kind of talk about what the donations things you guys do with helping the cancer patients. And um, you actually sent me one for a buddy of mine, and I can tell you now, it made a big difference right off the rip. For his father, his dad was having a tough time, started taking some RSO, started eating better, wasn't nauseous anymore, like that treat, like it helped him. But before you knew it, he was back to work, and he's progressing pretty well as we go. So it works. Like, I don't want to say it's 100% and it's the cure. I'm not saying that, but it's brings comfort, if anything. And to have you and doing what you're doing and having people behind you, I mean, it's really cool to see, because it's something you don't see anymore, where people are really truly in it to give back, which is dope.
I appreciate that, brother, and I give all of the recognition and acknowledgement to my grandma because she served. I didn't. I it's not that I didn't. I always did it with great intentions. I'm always been a solid business person, even when I've made mistakes because I thought something was one way, with my principles, and I always made things right. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm never ashamed for anyone to ever come forth and share, like, anything, because likely they wouldn't. I'm really a stand-up person, and if I see that someone has an issue with me, I'm not the type like, oh, that's your issue. I'm like, I'm a brother, and I know that God put me on this earth beyond to serve, like the service of through the oil. I know that I'm supposed to be there to give people the time of day, to remind everyone that we got to be present and we're all a family. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to my grandma with that. And yeah, the COVID, that time of COVID, it was depressing for everyone. and
Everybody.
and I just did that because, like, doing the Amazon stuff, and I felt like a minion, dude. I took a picture on my phone. Everybody's just like standing up, like staring at the screen, waiting for their number to come up. Like, damn, I'm trying to get paid. It was nasty, bro. And like, I'm not. I cried 2 times. Not the same day, but the first time, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, someone might call me weak, but I don't mind sharing it because maybe other men can relate. I don't believe you should just cry for any reason, but I feel that whenever you can't hold it in anymore, and you're in a situation and you cry, and it's not just like, oh, someone's hurting my feelings, but it's like, it's a life situation. I feel like you need an answer. And after the second time I drove off, I'm like, I canceled my route, and I'm like, I gotta go all in with this. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm very thankful that feeling and situation is what put me to serve. And through that, it opened me up. By the time I was already knees deep into the mission, I realized, like, dang, serving is the way.
Yeah.
So I did it not out of fear, but I did it through just the journey of, like, immediately jumping into what I knew was for me. But that wisdom of service and serving is like the secret ingredient to truly living a life of abundance and having people that are gonna attract towards you, that could better you, not just through opportunities of money, but spiritually. And they
Mm-hmm.
can show you different things to help you change your perspective and be a better person. So yeah, man, shout out to grandma.
Positive
And
vibe. Positive vibes, man. Now, were you close with your grandmother like your whole life growing up and everything?
Growing up, we were a little bit scared of grandma just because she had to handle business, like
Okay. Okay.
at church she'll yank your ear. But we loved grandma. We always respected her, and
Uh-huh.
it was never nasty. We all loved grandma always.
Yeah.
And for me growing up, like, I feel like my relationship got a lot better as I became an adult,
Mm-hmm.
because as my spirit grew deep, as my spirit grew wanting more for life and wanting to better myself, I realized that people like my grandmother, there weren't a lot of spirits like that, a lot of energy like that. So I wanted to put my I always that was the reason I wanted
Yeah.
to build. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started to
I
get
know
my.
exactly what you're saying, where it's like, okay, I'm getting older. You start to see things in a different perspective as you get older, and start to appreciate just life in general a lot more as things go on too. And especially you with such a, young, experience, terrible experience with the lymphoma as 9 years old. Like that's craziness, but to deal with it. Like, I'll tell you, me, for example, I had a triple bypass surgery about 6 years ago, heart surgery at 30 something years old, 36 years old.
Wow.
So when, I came through with all that, the way you look at life and just a different perspective, it kind of, is even the influence of doing the podcast where I just kind of didn't care what people thought anymore, kind of thing, and just do my own thing. And just, it is what, like, I just don't care. I'm going to be myself. I don't care what other people think. I don't care what it is. It's just doing what I enjoy doing. And that's chopping it up either about golf, cannabis, RSO, whatever the case may be. Everybody's got a story, man. Every person's got a story. It's just a matter of what you're looking to take the journey about.
Very well said, brother. Heck yeah. I'm glad that you took that leap, because here we are, thanks because of that. And I'm glad that we can spread awareness to your platform and have a great conversation while doing it, because yeah, you've always had great vibes, and I'm glad that we can have this episode and spread some love and some wisdom.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's get into a little bit of the specifics of like the RSO. Are there like any specific like strains you guys use or don't use when you're making it?
We use
some questions I thought of.
No worries. We use a bunch of different strains, from the popular ones, the Z's, the mimosas, the boofs, for the indicas. What do we got these days, man? What was one? There was this one. I'm trying to remember the name, but it made the whole batch smell like blueberries, and I was like,
blueberry Kush, yeah.
Yeah, so it was likely blueberry Kush. That donation was from Iced Out Extracts. That was in the earlier phases of the mission, around a year after we started to really kick it off with Knockout Farm. Yeah, Iced Out Extracts, he donated, and he rigged up the whole batch. When we smelt it, we knew. I was like, dang, this smells like some old school blueberry. And yeah, we ran up the batch with the other batches because we knew that everyone else was clean. We didn't have so many donors at the time, so by the end of it all, it was just like, whew. So yeah, we really run up a lot of strains. There's no strains that we don't look for. The more strains, the better. That's like the DNA and consciousness of the cannabis. That's different cannabinoids, different levels of terpenes. So we really want to like mix as many different strains as possible.
Now, what do you recommend normally for like the dosage? I know you have like I believe you came with like a chart, or you have like a whole dosage plan as well.
Yeah, so for anybody, whether if it's a cancer patient, it's gonna start off very small and go up to a gram a day. And as you mentioned, you've seen the calendar. But for just a regular person, we start them off at the same dose because we treat everyone as if it's their first time trying RSO, first time trying cannabis. It doesn't matter because RSO is very different. All of everyone's bodies are different with their chemistry and how they react. So we start everyone off at a quarter rice grain. That's what we call it, a quarter rice grain. And we send a picture, a little zoom in, so you can see like what, like, yep, it's literally a little dot. And some people have gotten a little, they said like, oh, I got a little medicated, but it was a good experience as opposed to the traditional half rice grain. And that we've seen people not really have good. A couple people have had to go to the hospital. So
the anxiety kicked in, yeah.
Yeah. So with us doing that research and development, shout out to our people that honorable sacrifice. No, just kidding. They're awesome. But yeah, so the quarter rice grain, it has been it's tried and true. Everyone has a great experience with it. Even if they get a little too medicated, it's like I had a great night's rest, or I was giggling and I had a big bowl of cereal. So yeah, that's the starting dose, and it's great for anybody that is just trying RSO.
Now, I've seen people, I've heard about people like putting it on like a joint or a blunt or something like that and smoking it. Can you smoke the RSO?
I mean, it depends. If you're talking about actual RSO, it's not recommended because it has so many hydrocarbons. It has it's pure oil, right? It's not like some live resin that gets filtered so much. So with that being said, there's a lot of fats and lipids that it's not recommended to smoke. Everyone has done it. I've even dabbed it before, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you were to do it, you're not gonna die, but it's not something I would do more than once a month. Like it's like more like, all right, like let's just try it out or
Let's try
whatever.
this out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, let's see, because it's a nice experience. It gets you smacked like old school, and
Right.
you wanna, but it's not
Yeah.
advised to do it a lot because the hydrocarbons.
I was fun. It's funny you said the old school because we were just talking about that. I was like, yo, remember the days when you used to just be able to smoke like a joint or two and you'd sit there and your eyes would just be closing. You got your hand in the chip bag and you're just sinking into the couch. It's like, man, I miss those days. Now I got too many responsibilities in life to get that baked to be able to do that shit.
Yeah, right. Wake
The
up, your
good
phone's
old
ringing.
days. Yeah, I'm like shit. Like today, I was sitting on the couch for a minute and I dozed off and I woke up. It was probably 10 minutes, and I'm looking at my phone thinking I got to get my kid off the bus or am I late for work, or I had no clue what time of day it was or anything. I'm like, yo, what the hell? But little, it wasn't RSO. I took a little puff on the way home from work today, but that was about it. Um, I just asked that one. So is there a difference between like microdosing and like full extract therapy for the RSO? Like would you say the microdosing is more of just taking the drops or
That was a very, very, very good question, brother. I'm not even kidding you, because um so I'm to answer the question, there is a difference, and we essentially have spoken about the RSO with people that have cancer. They start off small, they get up to a gram a day, they complete 60 grams within 90 days. A lot of people see good results. Some might have to take a little more, but it's very, very promising.
mm-hmm,
Going now into microdosing, and let's say doing a quarter rice grain every night, 2 hours before bed, it's going to change your life in the most beautiful way. So as you know, we both smoke. We're not going to oppose the fact that smoking before bed, it messes with your REM sleep, right? And that's the
mm-hmm,
sleep that associates with deep sleep. You get your dreams and you feel like replenished and you really get rejuvenated for the next day. With RSO, when you're microdosing it, it doesn't disturb your REM sleep. So you're having your dreams, you're waking up, and whenever you're doing, once again, microdosing, not blasting off, you're
right,
gonna wake up. You're gonna wake up like before the alarm if you really wanted to, and you're gonna be ready to go. You're not gonna be knocking into stuff and like, oh man, like I don't even want to brush my teeth or I need to take a shower. And
right,
no, you're like ready to rock, and your brain is like on go. So that's one thing that I've noticed. It's not just me that has experienced it. A lot of people notice this whenever they microdose RSO. So that's one thing that's a big difference, and I feel like that was a great way to share the
mm-hmm.
different benefits and feelings from microdosing RSO
Yeah,
compared
because
to just smoking it.
yep, because like with that, like you're saying, if you were just doing the microdose aspect, and like I always call it like when people take too many edibles or you take that gummy a little bit too late at night and it kicks in and you wake up and you're still like the weed hangover where you're all groggy and you don't feel like getting out of bed, or you get out of bed and you sit back down, you want to go right back to sleep kind of thing. Like that's the worst. Um, but like if you could do, get that good night's sleep where with the microdosing aspect and wake up and you don't have that feeling and you wake up energetic and before the alarm clock, like that would be where it's at, man. Because sometimes, man, I do that gummy a little bit too late or something like that. I wake up and I'm like, shit, I got stuff to do today. I shouldn't have took that gummy last night or ate that chocolate or whatever the case may be. I
Yeah.
get you.
No, seriously, yeah, and there's for sure a sweet spot when it comes to it, and whenever people find their dose, because some people might need more. Some people might be like, "Yo, brother Burn, like I'm over here taking 2 rice grains for bed to feel something," and we got to keep it real. Some people may have a history with alcoholism. Some people might have a history with sipping opiates or just
Mm-hmm.
taking pills. So that also alters your body's chemistry, and
Mm-hmm.
that may require you to take a lot more RSO, and that's way better for your body if we're talking about, hey, brother Burn, because I've dealt with many people, and I encourage people to reach out if they need to. People have reached out trying to kick stuff, and I tell them, hey, I need you to be responsible, because if you don't, then you're just going to use this like another opiate, and you're going to be blasted off, and I don't want that.
Right.
A lot of people tell me that it helps them to stop, and I have a couple brothers that have stopped. I'm not going to say I have a whole list, but I know
Right.
I at least have 4 people that have stopped using opiates and
Oh
different
yeah.
drugs because of RSO. So it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, and it has so many different applications when used in a therapeutic manner, and not just out of control, and uneducated. And that's what we're all about, spreading that awareness. So
Absolutely. So it's kind of rolling into that. How do you think the perception of RSO has changed over the past couple of years?
I think it's changed a lot, honestly, and I'm not trying to say that it's accredited all to us, but I just feel like because cannabis in as a whole, everybody's smoking now, everybody's
Yep.
getting high. So now whenever it's like, oh, like my back hurts, or someone's getting sick, more and more people are hearing about the term, oh, the RSO, or oh, that oil. So yeah, I feel like it's changed a lot these past years. When I first started, I feel like it was very, very a lot of people were not we were definitely sharing people what RSO is, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, hey, them wanting a little bit more of a detailed, having a bit more of a detailed question. So
Hmm.
it's changed a lot, and I think it's beautiful. The public perception has been amazing, and that's something that I want to even put into even more. And that's why we also serve the kids, and we could talk about that a little later. I know you have your format and the way that you want to guide
Yeah.
the
No. No.
direction,
Go ahead. We can
but
talk about the kids. Talk about the kids real quick, though. I'd like to hear what you with the kids.
yeah, brother. So we have what's called the Foundation of Love. We have Live to Serve. That's our private RSO program, and then we have Live to Serve. That's an actual 501c3 nonprofit in California, and it's focused on youth empowerment. For the past 5 years, we've been serving at the Boys and Girls Club of Estrada Courts. That's in Boyle Heights. If for people that don't know, if you don't know,
Hmm.
that's one of the like lowest income areas of Los Angeles, and it's very
Okay.
high in ethnic groups. So I figured if we were going to stretch our dollar anywhere, it would be in that community.
Hmm.
So that's where we've been the past 5 years. Funny enough, July 24th, we're going to be having our 4th annual back to school backpack giveaway. We're doing 2 times. We're doubling it up from last year. This year, we're doing 600 fully loaded backpacks. We're going to be we're going to have, yeah, cheeseburgers and a whole lot of fun. All of that is going to be free, open to the community, not just right there, but for all surrounding areas. If you know about it, come on by.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so we do a lot.
I do have a good list of the base out of California too. So it doesn't tell me whereabouts in California, but in California. So definitely plug it.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. So yeah, we've been doing that as well, and it's beautiful. Um me going through cancer at that age, it bankrupted my parents. And we went from being very, very, we were like middle class. So we weren't like rich in a mansion, but we were living good. Sean John, I was Sean John, head to toe,
Yeah.
We had those Harley chopper bikes like rolling down the street in a
Yeah.
nice neighborhood. Nobody's gonna jack us. Like we didn't even know what ghetto was. Like, we were chilling. And after I got sick, it really changed the trajectory of our finances and our family. And we ended up using a lot of the outreach programs that the churches had to offer, not
Mhm.
looking up at different things. So there were times where all we had was money for a Christmas tree. There's people that didn't even have that. So I'm not saying boohoo to us. It's just
Right.
that dramatic change is what really drove me wanting to serve cancer patients, but also the youth. It's
Mhm.
like, just like sickness, we want to get to the root cause. We want to
Yeah.
put the body in homeostasis. If we really want to see a better future for our kids, for everyone, we need to get
Yeah.
to the root cause, and that's the children. We need to make sure that they're the priority. And we can all smoke weed, we can all get super medicated, and I'm all about it. Everybody does what they do, but that doesn't mean that we're not taking care of business. That doesn't mean that we're not doing it at different times of the day. That's not messing up our business. And yeah, so I'm very much I'm very much a activist, and a voice for the family unit. and I love to connect that. In Northern California, there's a lot of events. I'm not going to say names because, but that culture over there, families are coming by to events, to sessions. It's not just like people getting high and it's all trap vibes. It's like communal and it's pretty beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's dope.
I see Southern California, and Northern California, the culture is very much that too. Besides the perception of RSO, I see the culture is finally, we're finally starting to embrace each other. I'm from Southern California. I live up
Okay.
here up north. Most of our donors are based in Northern California because they have the volume and they have what we need, now that we're so big. So it's beautiful, and bridging that, a lot of our donors, we're going to have a fundraiser party. Sorry to go off track.
You're
for
good.
for the 600 backpacks, we're doing a fundraiser party, and we're gonna have 60 goodie bags, $100 donation, bro. They're getting a 2-gram jar of hash rosin, a hash vape. They're getting a bag of edibles and a one of 60 commemorable T-shirt, that essentially, that commemorates, and that's a logo of that day, commemorating Back to School 4. So
Yeah,
it's yeah, and all the proceeds are going to that, and a lot of the
that's dope.
donors are Northern California based. Yeah, so it's beautiful, bro. We're bridging the gap, and it's changing before our eyes. So yeah, I just wanted to share that too.
Yo,
It's a
how
beautiful.
far are you from like the IE?
From the IE, I have family in Victorville. I'm like, excuse me, 8 hours.
Oh,
Like,
that far up north?
yeah, I'm like an hour north of Sacramento. So just
Okay,
to give you,
okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say I got some guys in a golf club that maybe you could do like a fundraiser golf tournament that they're down there though. Um, I could have tried to set something like that up. I was just thinking about, but that's awesome, man. Giving back to the you're right though, and starting with the youth to really change the futures. I mean, that's really our only hope at this point. The way especially when you turn on the TV and watch the news nowadays, it's a scary world we live in. Strange times, strange times. But that was my other RSO question I had for you to kind of get ready to close out here. Do you think RSO will play a larger role in the mainstream medical cannabis in the future?
I believe so. um, I'm not even fully educated, but just to keep it simple so that we can give an idea, we have countries that are now doing import and export of cannabis. Bangkok, Thailand, they're actually already going super scientific with it.
Hmm.
And as I feel like as other countries, because they need the revenue and they also believe in it. Like, it's not that they believe in it, it's that if they're educated, a lot of people, everyone thinks cannabis is the devil, but as
Right.
as people are realizing the medicinal benefit, and they realize, oh my goodness, we can benefit and create revenue and have much less medical costs and actually help our people. I feel that it's almost gonna, it's like it raises a bar to kind of force everyone to do that. If not, you're kind of gonna get pushed out, because why else wouldn't you? Yeah, so
Right.
I believe very much so. Yeah, it's bound to happen. How it's gonna unfold, I don't know, especially in America, because as you know, there's a lot of vested interest, with profits and things like that. I know that
Mhm.
the outside world is very much gonna be a leading example of how it's gonna turn out.
Yeah, once the big pharma companies can figure out a way to get their hands on it, then it will be acceptable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, they got something, I don't know if you know, but they have something called Sativex, and it's FDA. It's like the only FDA approved CBD, and it has like GMO flavoring, and yeah, it's
no
gnarly, bro.
shit.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
thankfully, yeah,
Crazy.
people are, through the education, people are gonna look at the ingredients and know, like, yeah, like, you know,
Right off
so
the rip, like they can't wait to ruin an all natural substance and just start throwing their shit in there, man. It's so crazy, dude. It's so crazy. So besides the what else you guys got coming up over there at Live to Serve, and I know you got the give back to the kids for the back to school book bags. What else you guys got going on over there in the next upcoming months?
Yeah, so in August, actually, we're gonna have, like, we've only done like 1 or 2 events up here, so it's very awesome to do more events in Northern California. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
be in Sacramento, and we're gonna be with Reefer Rangers, and I'll send you their information. They're actually some of the OGs that do essentially what we do, and they're geared toward they're geared more towards helping the veterans and serving the veterans.
Oh hell yeah.
So we've served a lot of them already, but there was an event recently, the Ridge Sesh up in NorCal, and I saw them and they invited me out. So it's gonna be a beautiful time. I'm gonna be giving out RSO to everyone, and that's gonna be in August. It's gonna be like a whole party. They're gonna have their own little thing going on, and we'll be there just giving RSO and spreading the love. And then
That's super cool.
yeah, in December, we're gonna be having our sixth annual community Christmas, and we're
Uh-huh.
gonna be, yeah, we're gonna do over 1,000 toys, so it's gonna be
Damn.
major.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going in. Last year we did 1,000, and we only tried to do 750. And praise God, the community went crazy. A big shout out to Hood Santa too. He's a nonprofit that's based in Long Beach that gave us so many toys. Yeah, so we're gonna break 1,000 again, and we can talk more maybe about doing the golf tournament. I have a lot of people here too that would love to support that, and I think that'd be great to
Yeah.
do something in cannabis that's not just getting seshed up. And I love activities like that. So yeah, let's talk more about
Yeah,
that soon for
I
sure.
got some guys down more in the LA and IE area, southern SoCal. So I could definitely, if you want to do something down there, I can link you up with a few people I know, and you guys could definitely. They do a couple cannabis style tournaments already, so why not do a good reason to give back to something, you know?
Heck yeah, brother, that'd be amazing, and we'd have to put your logo on there regardless of what,
Oh
because
yeah, I'll make a trip out if if
Bridget.
we set something up. I'll make a nice little trip out for a weekend or something. I'll just figure it out in the work schedule and family schedule. That's the hardest part.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can figure it out. And if that's the case, if you were to fly out, I'd make sure that we do it to where it would be not worth your time, but like I'd give you the love. It wouldn't just be, we'd do something awesome for the
Oh yeah,
community, and yeah, have a great time with the community and do something great.
let's do it. We'll figure something out in the future for sure. Brother
Heck yeah.
Burn, man, I truly appreciate your time, man. I don't want to take too much of your night up. Why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you?
You can find us on Instagram at live222serve, LIVE 222 SERVE. And the Foundation of Love on Instagram as well. That's our page. It's tagged on Live to Serve, but once again, that page is focused on the work that we do through the youth and our nonprofit. That's the Foundation of L.O.V.E. And it's a bit silly to say it like that over the thing. So go on over there to Live to Serve,
Yeah,
and that page is right there, and you can see all the good stuff that we're doing. And reach out to us if you need a sponsorship or a donation. We're always happy to be of service.
awesome. Well,
Thank you
once
for
again,
having me, brother. Sorry.
absolutely, man. Appreciate your time, man. This is a great episode. I hope everybody got a lot of knowledge of what the RSO game is really all about. Brother Byrne brings the knowledge and the passion behind it, and it's awesome, man. What you do for the community, cannabis community, your patients, and everyone else. So keep doing what you do, man. And if there's any, we'll talk more. I'll talk to you, and we'll try to figure something out. Maybe the Pitch Putt and Puff crew can chip in on one of those book bag prizes or something like that too. So we'll figure something out.
Heck yeah, brother. Sounds good. Thank you again for having me on the platform, and I look forward to doing more for the community with you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate everybody tuning into the Pitch Putt and Puff, and we'll catch you on Friday with another episode. Peace.
Links with RGB, pitch, putt, and puff. It's our podcast scene. Talking Burt and Bogies, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, putt, and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam. That's our stuff.